Welcome back to Time Out with J and G. It's Jay over here. It's G over there.
Yo, what is going on, everyone?
And today we are here with our NBA trade deadline episode. It's been a pretty crazy past week. I want to start out by saying, I apologize we didn't have an episode last week. I was sick. I still am kind of getting over the sickness, but last week at this point in time, I could barely even talk, and there's no way I was putting out a whole episode like that. Been taking a lot of medicine, been trying to sleep it off. I'm still kind of all messed up, but it's a lot better than it was last week. Yeah. How you doing, Levi?
I'm doing all right. You did have your Darth Vader phase there for a little bit.
I sounded awful. I sounded so bad to the point where I couldn't. By Friday or by Thursday, I couldn't even talk at all anymore. It was bad.
Yeah, no, it was it was something to in the PlayStation party. It was
yeah.
Your voice was a lot deeper, but
it was. I had my morning voice. I just woke up. It's been a insane week leading up to the trade deadline. The trade deadline, as I believe it's so the day you're actually watching this, February 6th, it will be the trade deadline, and it's at 3 p.m. Eastern time. So literally, as this episode releases, is the trade deadline. So if we miss anything between 6 o'clock on Wednesday and 3 p.m. on Thursday, we didn't know about it. So if you can't be like, oh my God, you guys forgot Jimmy Butler got traded, we didn't know about it as of right now, unless it happens during this video. So
yeah, that'd be crazy.
Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about just the craziest thing everybody's been talking about: Daniel Theis and a second-round pick for cap considerations to the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Hold on. There's an even crazier trade. All right.
Okay.
The Boston Celtics trading Jaden Springer and a 2030 second-round pick.
Yeah.
To the Rockets for a top 55 protected second-round pick. That is just blockbuster.
I mean, insane. You can't forget. City Cisco 2 second-round picks go to the Wizards, and the Kings get Jonas Valanciunas.
Yeah, bro, that's insane.
I'm just so happy he's not going to be a Laker. I'm just going to be honest.
But also, Dallas sending Quentin Grimes and Philadelphia's 2025 second-round pick back to the Sixers for Caleb Martin.
Yeah. Or, even something as crazy as, Luka Doncic being a fucking Laker. Or, I don't know.
That'll never happen.
No, something like that.
That'll never happen.
That could never happen. I mean, no, yeah.
Or, maybe, that's, as crazy as, De'Aaron Fox becoming a frickin', Spurs, a Spur player.
Next you're going to tell me
going to San
Antonio. Going to be a king. You're going to tell me exactly ends up being a Sacramento King out of that trade somehow. No. I think
then you're going to look at me and then you're going to...
You got one more?
Then you're going to look... Yeah, then you're going to look at me and tell me that, Zach Collins, Kevin Huerter, and Trey Jones that, supposedly the Bulls acquired, they're looking to trade them off already.
I don't blame them. I don't blame at all. No, but, come on. The elephant in the room is at 12:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, it was, a breaking news from Shams Charania that the Dallas Mavericks are trading Luka Doncic, Maxi Kleber, Markieff Morris to the Los Angeles Lakers for Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a 2029 first-round pick via the Lakers. And the Jazz just kind of slide in there and get Jalen Hood-Schifino and 2 second-round picks. So, I mean, listen, the real winners of this trade, man, the Utah Jazz, just walk in there and get a point guard and 2 picks without giving up a single thing. Literally, not a single thing.
And I mean, apparently Danny Ainge was just like, oh, I'm getting a player and 2 picks. All right, I'll take it.
Yeah.
He didn't even know the full circumstances of the trade. He just knew he was getting something.
I mean, Luka Doncic is a Laker. Anthony Davis is a Maverick. I've put out 2 videos talking about this trade on my channel. It blew me away. I know both of us were in the PlayStation party. We were both about to get off, and we both get the alert that from Shams that the trade has happened. And neither one of us believed it. Just 99% of other people are like, no, Shams just got hacked. There's no way this is happening right now. And Shams put out a quote tweet, so nobody believed him, and it took until Chris Haynes and stuff like that also tweeted that, where it's oh shit, this is real. I know we kind of talked about it, but just go ahead and give your initial reactions to finding out Luka Doncic is getting traded from the Mavericks to the Lakers.
Why?
Yeah.
Like, what goes through your head as a GM, or just anyone in the front office who is just like, oh, we have one of the greatest players under the age of 26, probably a top 3, top 2 player in the league, and we're just going to trade him for a 31-year-old Anthony Davis, a Max Christie, who, by the way, did have a good game.
Max Christie's a good young player. He's having a good season.
He had a really good game. I believe it was yesterday. He had a really good game, and a 2029 first-round pick. You're telling me you couldn't get like maybe the 2029 and the 2031 first-rounders? You're telling me you couldn't have gotten like... You're not going to get something like fully concrete back. You know,
you're not going to get anything that's worth Luka. Yeah.
No, unless you got LeBron, and they were not trading LeBron.
Yeah.
And even then, LeBron's 40-something. He's probably got, a season
a year
or two
two
left.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's just like, why would you even make the deal? You were just in the NBA Finals. Granted, you got smacked upside the head, but you were just in the NBA Finals. As a Lakers fan, what do you think of the trade?
I mean, like, it's... Okay, I'll start by saying, and I know all Lakers fans feel this way, like, losing Anthony Davis sucks real bad. Even losing Max Christie with the season he's been having sucks real bad. Anthony Davis has been a staple of this Lakers team for like 6 years now. Won the 2020 championship with them. He's been everything Lakers fans wanted him to be. And I know he went through like a 2-year stretch where he kept getting injured and there were some jokes being had, but he's been, especially these past 2 seasons, been super healthy, been super good. And it's just, it's a bummer to see Anthony Davis get traded. But you got a 25-year-old superstar that, like, my brain still sometimes has a hard time processing that Luka Doncic could be a Laker for the rest of his career. Like, this is a guy that, through 6 full seasons, is an All-NBA player 5 times out of those 6 seasons, has now been to the NBA Finals, has multiple playoff runs. This guy is already damn near a guaranteed basketball Hall of Famer at the age of 25 years old, and he's on the Lakers now. For a 32-year-old, Anthony Davis is turning 32 in like a month or two. So basically a 32-year-old Anthony Davis, and we only had to give up 2029. Didn't have to give up 2031. Their initial reports came out that apparently Nico Harrison, the GM for the Mavs, was originally asking for the 2031 pick and Dalton Connect, but then Rob Pelinka talked him down from it. Was able to talk him out of getting Dalton Connect. Was able to talk him out of the 2031 first-round pick.
Shout out, Rob.
I just, like... Losing Anthony Davis is a massive blow to Lakers fans, but you got to think, this trade is not only just for this season, this is for the next 10 years. This is their path post-LeBron James, and it's one of the first times we've ever seen the Lakers in the LeBron era think about the post-LeBron era. It's always been about getting pieces around LeBron James to win a championship with LeBron, but now they're like, we're going to give you a top 3 player in the league, but it's also 25, so LeBron, when you're gone in 2 seasons, we have Luka to build our franchise around after that. And I know but some Lakers fans are mad about it because we lose the defensive purposes, and they're so short-sighted on, well, this team's not good enough to win a championship with Luka there instead of Anthony Davis. Newsflash, even with the team we had prior to this trade with Anthony Davis, we weren't good enough to win a championship either way. So you might as well trade Anthony Davis while you can and get a guy like Luka Doncic. Take advantage. Like, honestly, take advantage of a dumbass GM and get one of the best players in the league.
I'm sorry, that was kind of funny.
I'm just being honest.
I mean, that's all we can ask for is honesty, but no, what is going on in Dallas right now? Is it just like a tradition to have some type of dumbass owner or GM?
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, like you said, and then like to a much, much smaller level, you mentioned they traded Quentin Grimes to the Philadelphia 76ers for Caleb Martin, who is almost 30 compared to Quentin Grimes being like 24. Like, they're just trying to get older for some reason. I don't understand it.
I don't either. The whole trade just didn't make sense in my head. There's a lot of people out there saying that this is just a conspiracy because the ratings are down. Mm-hmm. To try and rejuvenate ratings, I'm just like, I mean, Luka on the Lakers is like, yeah, that's crazy, but it's just like, I don't see how that boosts your ratings enough to switch everything around.
Yeah, I mean,
You know what I mean?
Unfortunately, like last year or 1 or 2 years ago is when like the ratings kept getting brought up, and I think it was one of the worst things ever happened for basketball because now the ratings is what's used as an answer or scapegoat for everything. It's I don't know, like a ref makes a bad call. Oh, it's because the ratings are down. They're trying to get this team to win. Or like, oh, this player gets traded. Oh, it's because the ratings are down. The LeBron came out and said the NBA or the Christmas is NBA's day. Oh, with the ratings, it's like literally people use the ratings as an answer for everything that happens in the NBA, and it's completely ruined discourse. Already worse than it was because it's like we're not even talking about basketball anymore. It's this team shot a lot of 3-pointers. Well, the NBA ratings, we're not even talking about basketball anymore. Now we're talking about TV ratings when we're trying to talk about basketball. You know what I mean? So the ratings conversation has really ruined this.
Absolutely, and it's just, I don't know. Ratings are important because, like, that shows how many people are actually watching the sport, this and that, but it's also just, like, you have to, like, we live on the East Coast, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. To watch our local teams, the 76ers or the Wizards, mm-hmm. we'd have to buy or do something for local TV.
Cable, yeah, get cable.
We can't watch them. Yeah, we'd have to get cable, which you have to spend a shit ton of money to get just to watch those two teams. Mm-hmm. Why we should be able to get, NBA League Pass and be able to watch every game, no matter what.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there shouldn't be, this is your local team, so you have to, pay $200 some odd for cable or $100 some odd dollars for cable just to watch, your favorite teams play. Or, if anything, if the 76ers are playing in Los Angeles, let me watch them.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The weird thing about that is sometimes you can, but sometimes you can't. Like, I've watched the 76ers on League Pass before because they're somewhere else. Like, yeah, if they're in LA, you can watch it on League Pass. But if they're in fucking Milwaukee, I can't all of a sudden. It's like, what is it? What is the difference there? You know what I mean?
And I mean, Kenny posted on his burner account, if that's what you want to call it. He is from
Chicago.
I believe Chicago. He was trying to watch the 76ers, I believe. He couldn't watch the 76ers. Mm-hmm. I forget who the 76ers were even playing, but there's no reason why he shouldn't have. He should have been able to watch it.
Yeah, and it definitely wasn't the Bulls. They weren't playing the Bulls.
Yeah, so like, what are we doing here? I mean, like, to watch a game, unless you're going to one of the
that was just This is last night's
very
game.
Aggravating.
They played the because last night was Joel Embiid's first game back, and they played against the Mavericks. They played against the Mavericks. So there's no reason somebody in Chicago can't watch a Philadelphia-Dallas game.
Exactly. It was probably in Dallas, I believe.
I don't know if it was or not. I didn't even. I looked, but I'd already closed the app.
Either way.
Yeah, either way,
he should still be able to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he should still be able to watch it. It's not like, just very aggravating because at the end of the day, we all just want to watch basketball.
Yeah, and if you see me glance down, I have the Pistons-Cavs game up. It starts in about 14 minutes. So if I glance down, that's what I'm watching live here. But no, like, give me. A lot of people have been talking this past couple of days about like Nico Harrison is completely fumbled the bag with this whole trade, and the idea that like they're saying he was 270 pounds. Where we've seen the pictures of him with Rob Pelinka, with Jason, JJ Redick, and like even on the court last night, like or on the bench, he wasn't. He doesn't look 270 pounds. Like I get it, he might be 250. You know what I mean? Like he definitely. It's been a conversation with Luka. Pretty much his whole career that he's a little bit out of shape coming into seasons. But this dude's still averaging a damn 30-point triple-double out of shape at 250. So what do I care? Literally, what do I care? You know what I mean?
You shouldn't care.
It's like...
To a degree.
To a degree, of course. It's not like this Charles Barkley... It's not like Charles Barkley where he was like 300-plus pounds, trying to coming into the season. So that Luka's also like 6'7". So him being at 250, I mean, yes, for a guard is like a little weird, but 6'7". I think they're going on a bit of a slander tour to try to convince their fans that there was a legitimate reason they traded Luka. They say his conditioning's been an issue his whole career, which, again, is objectively true, but not enough to trade him. And then, 2, he was eligible for the Supermax contract, which was going to be 5 years, $345 million. and they weren't convinced he was the centerpiece of their franchise anymore, and they didn't want to pay him that supermax contract. Now that he got traded, he's not eligible for the supermax anymore. Now it's like $230 some million now versus it's mid 200 million instead of 300 million now. So he lost a lot of money getting traded. Plus, the reports came out that he just bought a $15 million home in Dallas a week before he got traded. So that's the whole thing. And apparently he was crying about it. Like, he's hurt. He said in the opening conference he had with the Lakers that, they asked if there was any indication that him or his agents gave to the Mavericks that he wouldn't sign his extension. And he said, absolutely not. Like, easy question, easy answer. Absolutely. I never gave them any indication that I wasn't going to re-sign. So it's like there was no reason for them to trade him other than Nico Harrison getting on some type of weird power trip, because the reports are also coming out that over the past few months, Nico Harrison has fired a lot of people around Luka Doncic, around people that were against this Luka trade have been fired. He's been firing people that have been opposing him. So I don't know if it's some weird power trip he's on right now where in his mind, he's like, okay, I want to build this defensive-heavy team to win a championship because our defense got exposed in the finals against the Celtics. You're bringing in Anthony Davis, who, yes, is going to help your defense a lot, but you're losing a lot of offense. You're losing an offensive megastar. And you're just like, they're going to be a good defensive team, but who's going to be their scorer?
I don't know.
I mean, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, at that point, you either hope Anthony Davis can, level up, but at this point, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Or you're expecting Kyrie to tap into his 22-year-old or 25-year-old self and just go absolutely crazy, which, probably won't happen.
And then, then you mentioned they traded a good shooter this season in Quentin Grimes for a guy like Caleb Martin, who's a more defensive-minded. Like, they're buying heavily on defense, but to the point where it's like, Anthony Davis isn't going to get you give you the Luka 32 points, 10 assists. You're not getting that from Anthony Davis. Like, Kyrie Irving, unfortunately, at this point in his career, isn't going to give you 28 and 8. Like, it's just not going to happen on a consistent basis, I should say. They can have games for sure, but on a consistent basis, that's not going to happen. I just end of the show, like, fourth quarter, crunch time, the ball's going to be in Kyrie Irving and Anthony Davis's hand, which are good options. But you had Luka, one of the best in the league, and it's just, not even to mention, you traded a 25-year-old for a 32-year-old. You know what I mean? That's also another thing. It's just, it's a lot.
That's some finessing type shit, I'm gonna be honest.
It is. And like I said, I'm sure anybody that's been watching this has been hearing people talk about this for the past week, so we don't need to, dawn on it too heavy.
We also got to look at it just like this. If it wasn't for the fact that Luka got traded, and let's just say I don't know who else would have been in this trade, but like getting Anthony Davis is no little amount. Like, Anthony Davis is still a really, really good player. Mm-hmm. It's just the fact that you traded away Luka Doncic. Mm-hmm. So I mean, like, if we're grading this trade, Lakers get an A+. I'm gonna be honest.
Yep.
I've been seeing people give the Mavs an F. I don't think this, it's bad. I'm going to be honest, it's bad. I'm not a fan of the trade.
Yeah.
Just in its totality. But it's still, there's still substance that the Mavs got. You know what I mean?
There is. It's like one of those things where it's like, in the short term 2-year period, it's a good trade. But it's like, then you, what do you do post Kyrie, Anthony Davis? Because you don't have that guy anymore. You don't just get generational players out of the sky. And you had one on your team. You know what I mean? It's just like, in the short term, yes, Kyrie and AD are going to be, they're going to be a good team down there in Dallas for the next 2 seasons, as long as Kyrie Irving comes back next season. But, that's why, I don't even mind Fs, because it's you traded 10 years for the next 2 years. You know what I mean? And in these next 2 years, I still don't even look at Dallas as favorites, even with AD and Kyrie. You know what I mean? It's they're a good team, yes, but it's I'm not taking them over the Thunder, the Rockets, the Nuggets, even maybe the Timberwolves if they can move on from the Randall situation. There's so many teams in the Western Conference. I do not take this Mavericks team over. So I just feel like you traded a future for a slightly better chance in the next 2 seasons that's probably not even going to amount to anything.
And you know what would also be funny? Is if in 2 to 3 years when Anthony Davis's contract is up, he turns around and goes back to LA.
Yeah, I remember
That'd
you
be
mentioned
funny.
that before. I don't think there's any way.
I doubt
back.
it's gonna happen. I doubt it's
Yeah.
gonna happen. But it'd be kind of funny where it's like, yeah, we just traded away Anthony Davis for Luka, and now we just got Anthony Davis right back.
Yeah, it's just I think he is pretty upset with them.
Oh yeah.
Breaking news:
probably-
the Spurs plan to start Chris Paul and De'Aaron Fox together. So we'll see how that backcourt looks like. So that
right.
we might as well segue into that because again, people have been hearing about this. I mean, is there anything else you want to mention this trade? People have been hearing about it for the past week. I'm sure they're tired of it by now.
Rob finesse Nico.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. So
Shut up, Rob.
let's jump into the other trade. A big trade, but it just kind of got overshadowed because of the trade before it. The Spurs receive De'Aaron Fox, Jordan McLaughlin. The Kings receive Zach LaVine, Sidney Cisco, who's now just been retraded. A 2025 first-round pick via the Hornets, which we'll talk about here in a second. 2027 first-round pick via the Spurs. 2031 first-round pick via the Timberwolves. And then the 2025 Bulls second-round pick, 2028 Nuggets second-round pick, and a 2028 Bulls second-round pick. And then the Bulls receive Zach Collins, Kevin Huerter, Trey Jones, and they get their own pick back for this year. And like you mentioned before, the Bulls are now looking to shop Zach Collins, Kevin Huerter, and Trey Jones. Just turn around and get them up out of Chicago because they do not want them there. Now, go ahead. Go ahead.
I mean, like, I think the Spurs won the trade. I'm gonna be
100%.
honest.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The Spurs won the trade. I feel like they got the best player out of it, but I know we talked about that 2025 Charlotte pick is, I believe, lottery protected.
Yep.
So they're probably not gonna. They're not gonna get it.
No, and if it doesn't convey this season, it turns into 2 second-round picks. So you can pretty much throw out that 2025 Charlotte first-round pick. It's going to be now instead of 3 first-round picks in 3 seconds, it's going to be 2 first and 5 seconds.
I remember when the trade first broke and we were talking about it, was like, if that 2025 Charlotte pick was unprotected,
Yeah,
I think the Kings win the trade. For the sheer point to where there's a chance that they get a top 3 pick, and then they could have a chance at, Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey, something like that, They have a chance at one of the top prospects in the draft. Now it's kind of looking like, okay, well, now you just traded, your best point guard for Zach LaVine, who's a shooting guard. Essentially, at this point, I'm just presuming it's going to be the 2 first-round picks, and then now in 5. It doesn't make sense unless they're buying into the Sabonis being their playmaker and Malik Monk progressing as a playmaker, which he's done over the past couple seasons, and taking over that point guard role. They did trade Sidney Cisco to Washington
for Valanciunas.
For Valanciunas. So I've been saying that the Kings needed a backup center. They did go and get it.
Just bring in
feel
another guy that can't play defense. Because that's just all that Kings team is.
Well, I mean, I'm going to give you 3 names, and you tell me which one you would rather have as your backup center, all right?
Okay.
Trey Lyles. Trey Lyles.
Yeah.
Alex Len. Valanciunas.
I mean, yeah. Is Valanciunas the best one of the group? Yes. But is he that much of an upgrade? I don't think so.
I mean, it's just...
You didn't really give up much,
really
though, to get him, so it's,
Yeah, they gave Sidney Cisco, who they just got, and I believe 2 second-round picks.
Yeah, so you might as well just make the trade.
So, yeah, you're not getting much anything. Arguably, you get a better backup center than what you've already had. So, I mean, overall, the Spurs won the trade.
100%.
Depending on what the Bulls can get back for Zach Collins, Trey Jones, and Kevin Huerter, that remains to be seen. But
if anything, they might not be able to. I don't know if anyone's going to want them.
Yeah. But, hey, the Bulls got back their own pick for this year. So that's kind of a W.
Yeah, they're fighting the Bulls. I mean, now that they've traded Zach LaVine, and there's still rumors that Nikola Vucevic could be gone. There's a chance they fall into the lottery, but with how bad the Eastern Conference is, they're kind of slated to make the play-in no matter what. So, like, it's probably going to be a late lottery pick. But again, it's you gotta take a chance. If you're the Bulls, you gotta take a chance on something because it's just not going well over there. I don't know. Like you mentioned before, let's talk about the Kings first because I feel like they're the wild cards in this. Like the Bulls kind of got shafted. We can say that pretty confidently. And then the Spurs won the trade. But the Kings are definitely the ones that are kind of in limbo of how did this trade turn out for them. 2027 first round pick via the Spurs. We can almost guarantee, because De'Aaron Fox said he wanted to be there, that both De'Aaron Fox and Victor Wembanyama will still be on the Spurs in 2027. So there's a good chance that that pick's going to be in the 20s. You know what I mean? Like the Spurs are probably going to be a good team in 2027. The 2031 first round pick via the Timberwolves is definitely, I think, the best asset they got out of the trade, because with this Timberwolves team, Rudy Gobert and Julius Randle are almost guaranteed to not be on the team by 2031. Jaden McDaniels probably gone. The only things you can feel confident that you should still have by 2031 is Rob Dillingham and Anthony Edwards. There's even a possibility Anthony Edwards might not be on the team depending on how these next couple years go. So there's that 2031 Timberwolves pick has the chance to be 27, but also has a chance to be in the lottery depending how their season goes. So I think the Kings got a good pick there. If they even keep it, like if in the next 2 years the Timberwolves sell a couple players, they could flip that pick because it might be more value to another team. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of things that they can do with that Timberwolves pick. Zach LaVine, I just like he helps there with their 3-point shooting because they're a very mid-range centric team. But again, Zach LaVine's also a guy that gets his stuff done in the mid-range too. So it's like, you know, the last time we saw Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan together didn't look great. They lack a lot of playmaking. Like you mentioned before, Malik Monk is definitely in the past couple of seasons took strides as a playmaker, and Domantas Sabonis is one of the better passing centers in the league. But like, I don't think it's going to be enough. I just don't think they really have that guy right now. Because again, you have Sabonis doing dribble handoffs to DeMar DeRozan, and they're both trying to be in the mid range. You got Domantas Sabonis doing dribble handoffs to Zach LaVine, and they're still probably both trying to be in the mid range. And Malik Monk, even himself, you know what I mean? Like, they just have a lot of pieces that are trying to operate in the same spot. And I'm also curious because I think was it last night or was it the night before? I think it was Monday night, the night after they made the trade, that they played against the Timberwolves and they finished the game with a lineup of Malik Monk. What was it? Was Malik Monk, Keon Ellis, DeMar DeRozan, Keegan Murray, Domantas Sabonis. So that's your 5. Now that Zach LaVine's there, who goes to the bench? Well, if you take Malik Monk off the bench, that's a scorer and a playmaker off the bench that you put onto the bench. If you take Keon Ellis, he's by far their best perimeter defender. You're putting him on the bench. You're not putting DeMar DeRozan on the bench, unfortunately. It's just he's one of your best players. Same with Sabonis. You're not putting him on the bench. Now you have Keegan Murray. If Keegan Murray also offers size, being like 6'8", 6'9", he's one of the few guys that can space the floor and he shoot the 3, and on his good days, be a good defender. So it's like, no matter who you take off the court in that 5, you're losing a valuable piece.
I was going to say, when I was thinking about this, I was looking at who would be the most valuable asset coming off the bench. Mm-hmm. And the only thing that I could really think of would be drop DeMar to the 4, LaVine at the 3, and then put Keegan Murray as your 6th man and have him come off the bench.
We've seen DeMar at the 4, and it wasn't very good. It's not been very good. And again, defensively, they're going to... Because Keegan's also one of their better defenders in their starting lineup. So it's like, I just don't like the construction of this team.
And it's
and
weird.
Unfortunately,
it's very weird.
Your best player now, Sabonis, or he might have even been this season their best player, even with De'Aaron Fox. But like, having a center that's not a good defender is just a tough spot to be in. And you know the Nuggets struggle with it with Jokic, so that's why they drafted Michael Porter Jr. That's why they brought in Aaron Gordon. They bring in guys around them to help defend. You look at the Rockets with Alfred Sengun, not really good defender. They draft Jabari Smith Jr. They bring in Steven Adams. They bring in Dylan Brooks. They draft Amen Thompson. You bring in defenders around them. The Kings have not done that. Keon Ellis, okay, yes, but like they're not really bringing in those defenders around Sabonis to help.
This Kings team is weird. I love Sabonis.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Sabonis. I think highly of Sabonis, but it's just, I'm just kind of surprised that the Kings didn't get Castle. Or try and push more to get Castle.
Shout out to Spurs for keeping Castle.
Yeah.
They kept Stefan Castle. They kept Jeremy Sohan. They kept Devin Vassell, Kellen Johnson. They kept all the Atlanta picks. Like, the Spurs fleeced the hell out of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if I would love to have seen the Kings get Stephon Castle, or maybe it's a stretch, but maybe Jeremy Sohan to help out with the defense and he can handle the ball a little bit and play a little bit of point guard, which could help alleviate that a little bit.
Yeah.
But, like, shout out to the Spurs for being able to keep all of them guys and give up practically, Zach Collins, Trey Jones.
Yeah, they traded people that weren't very good anyway. Like, they just...
Yeah.
They traded people that weren't very good and a couple picks to get De'Aaron Fox. Like, they absolutely killed it. And like I said, the reports that apparently now Chris Paul and De'Aaron Fox are going to start. So, you have Chris Paul, De'Aaron Fox in the backcourt, Vassell at the 3, Sohan at the 4, Wemby at the 5. I mean, you have the bench now of Keldon Johnson, Stephon Castle, Julian Champagne's been super, super good this year. Like, and there's still a world where they can go out and make another trade. I don't know if they will. They might just be like, De'Aaron Fox was our trade. Let's get into the offseason. Let's see what we can really do going into next season. But yeah, A+.
They are
A+.
Yeah, A+. They are still sitting on Keldon Johnson's contract.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's
About $19-20 million.
Yeah, that they could, put out there and see what they could get. But shout out to the Spurs. They won this trade, I'm going to be honest.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Now, also, some trades that came out today as we're recording this. The Milwaukee Bucks trade Chris Middleton, A.J. Johnson, and 2028 first-round pick swap to the Washington Wizards for Kyle Kuzma, Patrick Baldwin Jr., and a 2025 second-round pick.
With Kuzma, you get younger, you get faster, but that's about it.
Yeah. You get worse.
You get younger and you get faster. That's literally it. I don't mean to pick on Middleton, but Middleton's getting up there in age.
Oh yeah.
He's not the player he used to be when they won the championship. Kyle Kuzma can score, but when it comes down to it,
he's averaging less than Chris Middleton this season. Kyle Kuzma's only averaging like 15 this season. He's been bad.
Damn. Well, like I said,
I know we're not really watching the Wizards.
Faster. Yeah, no, I'm not. You get younger and you get faster. That's about all this trade does. Milwaukee trading away A.J. Johnson, I'm not a big fan of.
Yeah, no, I thought he was actually one of the few young pieces that I actually had something going on.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. It could just be try to get a move done to see what they can do, Because I seen a report that it was trying to, get their fast break going or like basically play with more pace, bring in a younger guy like Kuzma. But at the end of the day, it's just... this is a nothing trade in my opinion.
Like, Kyle Kuzma, he's making 23 this year, 21 next year, and then $19 million to last year was contract. He'll be 31 years old at the end of the contract. Chris Middleton is making 31 this year and has a player option next year for 34. So you are adding an extra year of a contract with Kyle Kuzma. And again, it's that last year's going to be 19 versus Chris Middleton, $34 million. So it might have helped. I think it might have helped them get under like the second apron and stuff like that. But like, Chris Middleton's been a Buck since very early in his career when he got traded from Detroit, and it seemed like he was one to be a Buck. I know there's a way that they could have had Chris Middleton decline his player option next year for $34 million, but then restructure and give him an extension that was less money. You know what I mean? With him being injured and just not these past couple of years. Like, I'm sure they could have got that done. But instead they trade for a guy in Kyle Kuzma who, literally, no joke, a week ago came out and said he was done helping the Wizards' young players develop and he was going out to get his. This dude is not a team player in the slightest. And now he's behind Damian Lillard and Giannis Antetokounmpo. This dude, and trust me, as a Lakers fan, I know this dude is going to take shots from those two. Chris Middleton's a guy that has been with Giannis most of his career, was able to find a way to work with him. Kyle Kuzma does not give a shit about working with his teammates. He literally point blank came out and said he was there to get his shots off. He's not there to develop young talent. Especially when you're on that Wizards team, like, what the hell are you talking about? You know what I mean?
Oh, my Lord.
Like, this dude's going to have Giannis on a fast break and take a pull-up three instead. Because it's just who Kyle Kuzma has always been. I just think it's a bad, bad trade for the Bucks. Again, maybe in the cap world it helps you out. Okay, I get it. Teams have to fight around that second apron. I get that. But player for player, bad trade. Such a bad trade for him.
It is. This like you said, this has to be a trade to where you're just getting out from under that second apron or trying to at least. That's That's the only thing I can think of because I don't know. Like it has like Middleton and Kuzma, somewhat big names, but in the context of this trade, it's kind of like a nothing trade. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, it really is.
I hate to say it like that. People are gonna rebuttal me, but that is just. It's
well,
like a nothing
Bucks fans
trade.
on the timeline are not very happy about this at all, which they shouldn't be because this is ridiculous. This is such a bad trade. Again, if they had to do it for their reasons, I get it, but it's just not a good trade. That's kind of like the big trades that have happened. You want to talk about like a couple of the potential rumors, and a couple of them have been now since shut down, but we might as well go ahead and talk about it. I had it here. I'll pull it back up again. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the biggest one that you're probably pulling up right now is Kevin Durant.
Yeah. The reports that the Suns could be shopping Kevin Durant, and that there was a potential chance that there could be a reunion in Golden State with Kevin Durant going back to the Warriors, but that has since kind of pretty much died out. It's not happening. He came out and said he doesn't want to play over there because the last time he was there with all of his injuries, and then Draymond Green literally flat out said it. He doesn't want to be there. So that trade kind of died. There was real talk that he might go to Miami, but that's probably not going to be a real thing either. There's Brandon Ingram talk that Brandon Ingram could end up in Miami or possibly Toronto. I did a video on my channel where I actually came out yesterday as you're watching this that I traded for Brandon Ingram in a Raptors rebuild and try to win a championship with him on that team. A lot of rumors going on right now. There's a lot of rumors because obviously, again, as you're watching this, it will be the trade deadline as this comes out. So I'm sure something has happened from us recording this to something else going on. I want to find. Hold on. I want to try to find.
I mean, New Orleans got under the luxury tax.
Yeah.
By trading Tice and draft compensation to OKC, which I mean, OKC doesn't really need any more draft compensation, but hey, they're still getting draft picks.
Also, the Warriors were interested in a Nikola Vucevic trade, but now apparently the Golden State Warriors aren't fan of Chicago's current asking price for Vucevic. So it looks like there's a real possibility that Nikola Vucevic will still be a Bull for the remainder of this season.
I know Bulls fans are excited.
Sure they are. Dennis Schroeder is a name to watch in a potential trade talk centered around Jimmy Butler. Interesting because he's been really bad since he got to Golden State. And he just made a crazy comment the other day about the trade deadline, which I will not repeat on here because, it was a rough comment.
I see that.
It was a comment for sure. The Warriors are not focused solely on Jimmy Butler, so maybe, but like, I still don't understand this because he flat out said he will not re-sign with Golden State. So I don't know why they're looking to trade for him.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe to try and get off contracts and get some, free up some money for free agency. I don't know.
It just doesn't make sense because you're giving up assets for a guy that you know is going to walk away in a couple months. And it's not like if the Warriors were like a 3-4 seed, and it was like, oh, maybe Jimmy Butler will be enough to get us to a championship this year. I can like kind of give some rationale to that. But the Warriors aren't making a deep playoff run. Now, again, they could come back and you could come back in 6 months and watch us be like, well, the Warriors just won a championship with Jimmy Butler, and that would look like a fool. But I just don't think it's going to happen. So if you're not going to win a championship, I don't think there's a real world where you trade for a guy that you know is going to walk in the offseason.
Yeah, no, there's no point to it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like I said, the only way is if you're looking to get off of contracts. But even then, what are you trading away? You're probably going to trade Wiggins, Schroeder, maybe a couple picks or something to that effect. And does it really free up that much money to where you can do something in free agency?
I don't even know if you're Miami, I don't even know if you're getting picks for Jimmy Butler anymore with the way this is all going. Like, I don't think his value is much of anything anymore.
Send over Wiggins and a bag of chips.
Maybe. I don't know. Brian Windhorst says Kevin Durant will either stay in Phoenix or join Miami. That's the latest on Jimmy Kevin Durant. So I think he's going to just stay in Phoenix. I think all this trade talk we've heard from Jimmy Butler this past couple of months is just going to end in him being in Miami. With the way he keeps rejecting every single team that they send his way, he's just going to stay in Miami. And the report even came out, yesterday or 2 days ago, that he's in shape and he's willing to put this whole situation behind him in Miami and just play for the rest of the season. And it's like, after all the fits you've just thrown this entire season, you think you can just walk back into that locker room and everything's going to be okay. Like, sure, no. I'm sure your teammates are going to be like, oh, man, what's up? It's all good. But that's not how they really feel. It's not going to be how they really feel. They're just going to be that way to your face. Like, you've burnt bridges in Miami. And, like, they're going to save their face in the locker room. But that relationship is cooked, man. It's pretty cooked.
Well, I mean, even with all this stuff going on, he was ready to play. And they're like, nah, we're not starting you. We're starting
Haywood Highsmith.
And he walked out. It's kind of just like, well, come on. Like, I understand you want to start, and I understand, you're Jimmy Butler, but, like, you've been throwing a fit so far, and you just, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if he just doesn't play the rest of the year.
I don't think that's like it'll be like $30 million he'll lose if he continues to not play for the rest of the season. So I don't think he's going to do that, because it's pretty obvious at this point in time. This is all about money, because Phoenix is the only team that's going to give him an extension. So he's not going to lose the money by not playing. You know what I mean? He wants more money, so I think he's going to play the rest of the year. I think he's going to half-ass save face and try to play the rest of the season. But I think he's going to decline his player option in the summer, and he's going to do whatever he can to get to Phoenix in the summer. I don't know if that's possible. I really don't, but I think it's what he's going to try to do.
I mean, the only way he gets to Phoenix, and I know you said the off season in the summer. But, like, sitting here right now, the only way he gets to Phoenix is if they trade Kevin Durant.
Or Bradley Beal. Which, like, maybe in the offseason they can convince Bradley Beal.
Maybe. But Bradley Beal is, like, he was even adamant, like, I don't want to leave.
Yeah.
So, who knows?
It's just annoying that, I'm so glad this trade deadline turned out the way it did, because with the way that Jimmy Butler situation was going, I thought this was going to be an awful trade deadline. And then, shout out to De'Aaron Fox for spicing things up last week by kind of not requesting a trade, but basically telling the Kings that when I'm a free agent, I'm going to San Antonio. So if you want to take calls now, go ahead and do it. And so they kind of just went ahead and traded him. Obviously, Nico Harrison for being a dumbass and trading Luka Doncic because he thinks he's some crazy bro, thinks he's the next Pat Riley or something. I don't know. And then you know what?
But
shout out to the Wizards for getting off of Kyle Kuzma, and for Chris Middleton, he has a player option. There's a real possibility, because the reports are saying that the Wizards are going to hold on to Chris Middleton, that he declines his player option in the summer and walks away, and if the Wizards just wipe their hands of a contract 2 years early from Kyle Kuzma.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of funny.
Wizards might have just cooked low-key. High-key, honestly. I don't think it's low-key. I think high-key.
I do have one question. It's not major, but, like, Brad Stevens, Mr. Stevens, what are you doing? You traded away a good, young, defensive jack-of-all-trades guard in Jaden Springer for a pick that we're probably not going to get.
I'm pretty sure it got them below the second apron, or, like, it got them out of some contract or cap situation. I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
All right. I mean, I guess. I mean, at this point, with as much money as you're paying everybody on the Celtics, what does it matter if you're below or above the second apron?
Well, because that's money out of their pockets. They have to pay.
I don't know. Well, I mean, even then, next year, I believe Brown's contract goes up. Tatum's contract goes up. I'm almost guaranteed that Derek White and Drew Holiday's contract goes up. So you're just eating that money next year, and you're not going to, negate enough of it unless you, like, sign Al Horford to, like, a $2 million contract, which is not going to happen.
Okay, right here. The Celtics are a second apron team and had $196 million in salary on the books ahead of the Springer trade. The fourth-year guard was making $4 million this season, but he would have cost the Celtics much more had the team carried him past the deadline. Boston's payroll and luxury tax bill decreased by roughly $16 million with the Springer trade, according to NBA salary cap expert Yossi Glazum. It also gives the Celtics a $4 million trade exception to work with for next year.
Knowing how the Celtics are, they're not going to use the trade exception. We've had multiple in the past years, haven't used them whatsoever to go get somebody, so I'm not really worried about that. But, I mean, $16 million, I mean, I guess to the people up top, they don't want to pay that extra money.
It's in luxury, yeah.
Yes, I mean, I don't know, I guess they just don't want to fork up some extra money. I don't know. It's beyond my understanding and everything else. But it's kind of just like, you guys are supposed to have the money to be able to do this. But I can understand wanting to save some money. But I like Jaden Springer. Maybe that's
I
why
think
they
it's
traded
just
him.
it's just a move that it's like it's just going to help. It's just going to help them in the next season or two with their money situation, and it's probably gonna be one of those things where they're gonna make a trade next season, and it's gonna be like, oh, it's because they cleared up the money with Jaden Springer last offseason. You know what I mean? It's gonna be one of them situations, and like it's gonna pay off in like a year or two, and it's gonna be like, oh, okay, that kind of makes sense.
I guess. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah. I don't know. An anonymous Miami Heat player says the team would welcome Jimmy Butler back if a trade doesn't go through. One teammate probably said that the roster would embrace Butler, who would return at the top of his game. I don't know if I believe that.
I don't. I'm gonna be honest. That's it. That's a bunch of baloney.
Yeah. I just think the way he kind of handled it this season was just kind of embarrassing. Honestly, it was just kind of an embarrassing way to handle it.
The one more trade that we didn't talk about. It happened 4 days ago. I know it's a little outdated, but the Los Angeles Clippers trade PJ Tucker, Mo Bamba, and a future second-round pick to the Utah Jazz for Drew Eubanks and Patty Mills.
I mean, honestly, trade for the Clippers because PJ Tucker was just sitting at home. He wasn't even showing up to games, making like $11 million.
Yeah.
So get his contract off the books. just get his contract off the books. For Drew Eubanks, he's got to get some playtime, I guess. Patty Mills, whatever. Yeah, that's pretty much all that was.
Yeah, I mean I think that's all the trades. Daniel Tice talked about to the Thunder.
Yeah.
Whatever gets them below the luxury tax.
Like I said, by the time you guys watch this video, maybe Jimmy Butler got traded, maybe Brandon Ingram got traded. Maybe some random other player got traded. With the way the Luka trade went, maybe, God, I don't even know. Maybe somebody else gets traded that we don't even know the next day. But is there anything you want to kind of talk about? You know what? I don't want to spend a lot of time on this because, honestly, I don't really care. But let's just give a little talk about the Super Bowl before we get up out of here.
Do we really have to?
Let's just give predictions because, like, I know neither one of us really care about the Super Bowl this year. We did our episodes like the wild card, divisional, championship Sunday, but honestly, this trade deadline's been more impactful for us than the Super Bowl is this year. So let's just go ahead and give our opinions on the Super Bowl, and we can kind of move on from it.
I mean, the Eagles, on paper, probably the better team. They got Saquon, who is arguably, like, this season alone, probably the best player on the field coming up here soon for the Super Bowl. Saquon's a menace. Let's just be honest. He can do about anything you need him to do. He can break you a 50-yard run, 20-yard run. He can do everything. I mean, Jalen Hurts has been playing his role, but, when it comes down to it, Eagles might have the better team, but, the Chiefs have Andy Reid.
Yeah.
Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, and, it could just be me just being tired of picking against them and being wrong, but I'm going to go with the Chiefs, and they're going to three-peat.
Yeah. I'm picking the Chiefs, too. Also because I'm a Cowboys fan, I don't want to see the Eagles win. Yeah, you made a good point. I think the roster-wise, the Eagles have the better roster, but the Chiefs have been here the past 2 years. I mean, the Eagles were there 2 years ago, and that's who the Chiefs beat the first time. But the Chiefs, this is every day for them, man. They have Patrick Mahomes. You can't count him out. Travis Kelce, can't count him out. Andy Reid, especially can't count him out. The Chiefs' defense has been so good all season. Listen, I can't say for sure that the Chiefs walk in there and just show them, but I'm gonna trust Patrick Mahomes in a end of the game drive versus a Jalen Hurts offense. I get it; they have Saquon Barkley, like you said, phenomenal, probably one of the best players in the entire league this season. But experience matters, and that Chiefs team is just certified winners. So I'm gonna go Chiefs as well.
Yeah, I mean, even look at last year. With the Chiefs going up against the 49ers, everyone thought, the 49ers have the better roster, which they did. Let's not be coy about this. They had the better roster. But the Chiefs still ended up winning.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles won because of their roster being better, but at the end of the day, I'm going with the better head coach, the coach who is going to be in the Hall of Fame, probably a first ballot Hall of Famer, I'm going with Andy Reid and the Chiefs.
I agree. I can't argue with you on that one, honestly. I cannot. Sorry, just to pull up the Hawks and Spurs here because apparently I just got a alert that De'Aaron Fox just had his first bucket as a Spur. So I cannot miss the debut of, I think, probably one of the first. Max Christie played last night for the Mavs, but like one of the first big player that has played at this whole trade deadline. So shout out. Anything else you want to talk about before we get up out of here today?
Chris Paul just hit a 3.
Yes, sir. Anything else you can talk about?
The Hawks.
Bro, lock into the podcast. We're almost done.
I mean, quickly about the Hawks. I mean, do you think they should? I know we talked about it before, like in the PlayStation part, but like, do you think they should sell? Do you think they should try and acquire someone like Brandon Ingram?
I was going to say, that is another team I forgot to mention. Brandon Ingram, it possibly goes to the Hawks. I don't think so. Especially now that Jalen Johnson's out for the season. There's reports that DeAndre Hunter might get traded, who's been phenomenal this season. I think if you're the Hawks, yes, I think I sell. I think I try to get Clint Capella out the door. I think DeAndre Hunter, as good as he's been this year, I think you maximize his trade value and get him out the door. Bogdan Bogdanovic, get him out the door. And just kind of see what you have with Trae Young, a healthy Jalen Johnson next season, a healthy Zachary Richardson next season. And just kind of, and hopefully Onyeka can take some type of step. If not, you probably are looking for another center long term. This team isn't good. Brandon Ingram doesn't change the trajectory of this team at all, in my opinion. Like they'll be better, sure. They're in the Eastern Conference. They'll be a playoff team, play-in playoff team with a Brandon Ingram, but it's not going to get you anywhere. I just don't see the value in that.
So now, speaking of Brandon Ingram, I know we talked about him earlier, but the Pelicans. Do you think they should just try and sell everything and just restart this entire process?
Yeah, no, 100%. Again, Brandon Ingram, very good chance he gets moved. Zion Williamson, I don't know if he's going to get moved, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did. Hey, you just got to move on, man. It's just the health has been awful. DeJounte Murray's out for the season with his Achilles injury. I don't know if anybody's going to want CJ McCollum, but if you can find a trade for CJ McCollum, move on from him. You have Herb Jones, even like you could I'm sure you can get a pick or two for Herb Jones as well, one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. If you want to move on from him, if not, I think you could keep him. You have Jordan Hawkins, you have Trey Murphy III, you have Yves Missy, you have a couple of guys that's like I think I want to take a shot with, but like we can't really tell right now because they have so many people playing in front of them. I mean, speaking of the Hawks, Dyson Daniels was buried in the depth chart in New Orleans and he couldn't get any play time. Comes to Atlanta and it's been phenomenal. You know what I mean? It's like we don't know if he ever would have saw that in New Orleans just because he had Herb Jones, DeJounte Murray, CJ McCollum all in front of him trying to get play time. So I think the Pelicans are a team also that needs to try to sell whatever they can at this point in time.
I mean, also, real quick shout out to Trey Murphy. I believe he had a 40 bomb the other night.
Yeah, he's been really good the past week or so.
Yeah, he stepped in and he's kind of stepped up. So shout out to him. But that's about all I got.
All right. Well, we will see you guys back here next Thursday. We will know the Super Bowl winner. We will know the final trades of this NBA season. We'll be able to give a full week. We'll hopefully have seen Luka Doncic play for the Lakers by then. Anthony Davis play for the Mavericks. Well, hopefully, you know what I mean? Like hopefully we'll see all these guys play. So we'll be able to give a real in-depth of how we feel about these trades a week later once some people have gotten on the courts. Because everything could look good on paper. It's about how it works on the court is what really matters. You know.
Yep, 100%.
So, is there any last remarks you want to say before we get up out of here today?
Not really. I hope everyone's having a great day and stay frosty.
Yes, sir. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you guys next Thursday. Peace.